let's go out to probably we're somewhere near Twinsburg, and we check in with Bill Duff. Is Bill good to go? Referee, Eric? He's good to go. Hey, Bill, how are you today? Hey, Bill.
Good. How's it going, Andy?
Good. Thanks for joining us. I want to ask you this. Last week, we sat around and we watched this Browns locker room come out in support of Brandon Weeden. Like, everyone in town had no idea what they were talking about. But those guys, everybody in the locker room said, he's our guy. He's our guy. You guys you got this wrong. You got this wrong. So they had his back last week. And I don't know that Brandon Weeden had their back yesterday. What do you think?
I think he really, really struggled. He threw the ball behind a lot of receivers, held the ball way too long. It didn't look like he checked down at all. From a defensive perspective, watching it, the way he looked down the field, he played a really bad game.
I just thought, Bill, that he looked like he was just totally checked out of this game. He had no feel for the game. There was no rhythm. It seemed like he was just completely disconnected from his own offense. And like you mentioned, it showed on the throws that he made, the decisions that he made. You just felt hopeless watching this team play football yesterday, and that's not a good feeling.
I don't think I think the defense actually played pretty well in some instances, but I think towards the end of the game, I did notice a little less hustle, and that's pretty indicative of a team that doesn't believe in their leader. And it's hard to say because I think Brandon's a good guy, and I think he's trying hard, but it was a really rough game to watch. From the quarterback position.
Hey, Bill, when former Brown Bill Duff joins us, when you see 3-yard passes drop consistently, and normally I would say, well, he's got to catch that, and I do believe those guys have to catch it, but it's so frustrating to watch as a fan. Why can't they? Is it that he has no touch on the ball whatsoever, or is it lack of concentration? Is it 50-50 on the wide receiver? Or tell me what I'm missing here on these short passes.
I think you got to look at the velocity with the way Brandon's throwing the ball, and a lot of receivers will tell you, within that 15-yard cushion, you can't gun it. And he's not only gunning it, but he's putting it behind the guys in their hip pocket. That's a really difficult catch to make. That's like asking somebody to block, a 4 or 5 guy one-on-one on the outside. It's just not going to happen. And he's not putting the ball ahead of his guys. And I know I'm not the only football player or ex-football player saying this, and I'd never trash a guy, but Brandon's just not putting the ball where it needs to be put to catch it.
You mentioned the defense. I thought they played as solid a second half as they could play to keep the Browns in it and give the offense a chance to get back in the football game. But, as a defensive guy, when you start to think about it, Bill, at what point when the defense has just played their fannies off all season long and they're getting no help from the offense, at what point can you not fault them for kind of throwing their hands up and thinking like they may quit on this team? I mean, you see the effort week in and week out, but it's not being reciprocated on the other side of the ball.
I don't think you'll see anybody quit. I think there's a lot of good football players out there. I think you'll probably see a change at the quarterback position, just to kind of spark the team. It wouldn't be a bad idea to bring somebody else in off the road, just to kind of get a spark going, because, I don't foresee anything changing from the way the offense has been playing the last 2 weeks. I'm sure you guys agree with me. It's been absolutely, terrible.
It's hard to watch. It really is. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, you're out in Twinsburg today. You got a big, heavy agenda. Folks, you're working out at Powerhouse today?
Yeah, we'll have boxing this morning, and then the rest of them, if they don't listen to me, I might have to get a little rough with them.
Hey, just out of curiosity, I know this is way off subject. Do you watch any MMA?
Of course, yeah.
Did you see Jessica Eagleye on Saturday? Did you watch her bout from Cleveland?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see it. I watched some of the replay. We're all very proud of Jessica. I think she's a local girl. We're all following her and wish her the best.
Yeah, I watched her on Saturday night. She was tough.
She's awesome.
That was a great bout. It really was a great bout. If you get a chance to check it out, definitely check it out. And she's now 11-1, I think, overall. So
there's no easy fights in the UFC.
No, not at all. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it, Bill. We'll check in with you next week. Okay.
All right, see you guys.
Bill Duff, former Brown. Let's go from one former Brown. Oh, I thought we had another former Brown on the line. We'll go back to that in a second. In about 3 minutes, we'll do Angry Browns Fan. 216-431-3820 or on Skype, Dogs on the Run. Dogs on the Run. If you want to Skype in, we got a busy agenda going on here. Who's next? We're going to talk to Sarah who was in Green Bay over the weekend. We'll get
Awesome.
in with her. Bone Lady, Chris Fedor, Craig Lindell has a song for us coming up in a little bit later.
Looking forward to that.
We'll go back to Kenny Rhoda. We'll talk to Garrett Downey from the Ravens. Matt Lodi checks in on the Steelers, who are now creeping back up into the system.
You know, I was looking at the average. This makes it worse. You're not going to feel any better about this, but do you know the average field position for the Browns yesterday, Andy?
They were only in the red zone once, right?
But their starting field position average, guess.
35? Don't
You're
say it.
close. 38-yard line.
Oh, that's not
You know, the Packers, 29. You're at the 40-yard line almost starting drives, and you get 13 points out of it. I mean, if that's not time for change, I don't know what is.
All right, Roger Shenwa is sticking around. Another former Brown who joins us here every Monday morning. Roger, thank you very much for joining us from Broadview Heights. And your thoughts on yesterday's game?
I mean, it was real tough to watch. I mean, it was real tough. I was actually out with the Southeast Cuyahoga Browns backers for the game, and I mean, the whole place was just struggling to digest what was going on.
Roger, talk about just, from an offensive lineman standpoint, and your quarterback is struggling, and you're at the line of scrimmage, and you're holding your guy. You're not holding, but you're defending your guy, and you're making sure that you're given as much time as you can to get your guy back in this game, and you just don't see any progress behind you. How does that start to wear on a guy who, especially from the lineman standpoint, when does that start to get to you when you see nothing's happening and you're fighting your tail off to try and help make something happen?
I truly believe that, when you're talking about any football player, everybody has their own personal best or their personal achievement that they want to attain during a game. They want to dominate the player that they're going against. So I don't think there's ever a point where, the inconsistencies or the lack of production of the offense is going to cause a player to necessarily, throw in the towel or take a play off. But, just like anything, when you sit back and you look at the film or you look at the play on the replay, it can be real disappointing and frustrating to see a play not develop, whether it's because a receiver didn't catch the ball or the ball was placed behind the receiver in his route, or the quarterback is sitting there holding onto the ball much longer than you'd like it. You still have a responsibility, mainly to the other guys on the team, to go out and give your best.
Roger, you go back in that locker room today, okay? So you watch tape. How fast can you let this go before you start thinking about Kansas City, who's playing great football right now?
I mean, honestly, you have to process this stuff and almost be completely done with it before you even get to film. Now, and once you see the film, that's when you really have to let it go. You have to evaluate your pluses, your minuses, and determine how to address any issues that may have arose in the game, and then you just start getting ready for Kansas City immediately.
I know when you look at this team, okay, and you're trying to rally around a guy, and everyone's trying to rally, Roger, everyone's trying to rally this guy last week, and it just didn't happen. And like I just said to Bill Duff, he didn't hold up his end of the bargain for a team that was thoroughly behind him all week last week. How does that, and I know you got to let it go, but I can't see how that doesn't affect the locker room.
Well, I'm sure it'll be some tension in the locker room. That's just natural. But the reality is those decisions are made above the players as far as who's going to play, who they're going to pick up, what they're going to do. So as a player, you worry about things that you can control, which is really your own performance and your own play out there on the field. So you try not to get caught up in that. Whoever they put back there, you pick him up and you support him and you give him your best, because ultimately everybody out there wants to win the game. You don't want to lose. We don't go out to just make a good show or hope that we get the first the best pick in the draft coming up in 2014. We go out to win. So I mean it will be a little tough, and a lot of the guys will feel a little pressure just because of the way things have been going. But we got to keep moving forward.
All right, Roger. Hey, thank you so much. Have a great day, and tell everybody in the cubicles behind you, thanks for letting you do this little interview. So you're not killing
I
them.
would definitely let them know that. Guys are walking by making faces, trying to mess me up as I'm doing it.
You know what? Next time they do that to you, you just grab them and put them on camera, and then you let everybody see those silly faces. Thanks, Roger.
All right.
Thanks, Roger.
Have a
Thanks
great
a lot,
day.
guys.
All right, let's go from Roger's office to the boudoir of the Bone Lady.
Yeah, time to get
Hi,
boned.
Bone
Woo,
Lady.
let's get boned. Woo!
Hey, behave yourself, boys.
I'm sorry.
Listen, would someone please tell the Browns that the Whedon experiment is over?
So what are you
How
trying
much
to say?
more do
You
we
didn't like
have
the
to
way he played
watch
yesterday?
this? Hello?
Hello, I know we're just dumbfounded. I think, first of all, we are dumbfounded
And you
that
know
we're...
what, guys, listen, you know it's bad. Did I just hear that on TV, or did it really happen when one of the announcers coined his little flip pass the Whedon flip? I don't think that's a good thing. And you know what? Great quarterbacks. Everybody on the team ups their game to help a great quarterback. Didn't you notice everyone's game seems to be going the opposite direction? How much longer do we have to watch this? That's the main question. And also, I do have a message, guys, for the Browns. Apparently, last week on Monday morning, they were calling season ticket holders to up their season tickets. Excuse me, PR 101. Please don't call Browns fans on a Monday after a loss to up your season tickets. And I'll tell you, my brother had one of the best ideas. Do you guys remember years ago, Eric Mangini made a tape, and he would call all the Browns fans to up their season tickets. My brother David said, hey, why don't they have Brandon Whedon calling all the season ticket holders and saying, listen, buy your season tickets for next year now because I'm not going to be here. I think they would sell a lot of tickets.
Hey, was that an automated phone call, or is that actually a live operator calling?
No, it was an automated phone call, but I remember I laughed. I almost dropped my phone. I'm like, oh, Eric Mangini's calling me. So that was their big PR move, but don't you think it would work?
So that's a fact. So the automated machine was calling yesterday after the loss.
No, actually, apparently they were calling people last week. That is what I heard on Monday morning. I mean, don't call Browns fans on a Monday after loss and ask them to give you more money.
I think what they should do.
Sense.
I think they should.
Guys?
I think they should tweak it this week, Bone Lady, and Brandon Whedon should still call, and the automated call should go something like this. Hi, this is Brandon Whedon, currently the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. We'd really like you to re-up your tickets for next year, because if you do not re-up your tickets by the end of the week, I will start another game for you on Sunday. Thank you. Thank you for your ticket support.
Isn't there? And you know what, you guys, you got to feel, I mean, wasn't it painful to watch Norv Turner in the booth?
Oh. I didn't even know they could get a camera up there.
Out of that little styrofoam cup. I hope it was something strong and good.
It felt awkward. Bone Lady, I do have to ask this question because I'm intrigued.
Speaking of awkward.
This is going to be an awkward question. Are you just wearing the upper portion of the Dog Lady outfit?
I have a question for you boys.
Yes.
Are you just wearing the upper portion of your outfit?
Well, normally we don't wear pants when we're on the set. So when we do sports on the other side, we're never wearing pants. In fact, I wear boxers underneath all the time. So is this just a face shot of the Bone Lady?
I'm only half a bone.
What
Trust
is it?
me, I'm the lazy Bone Lady. And you know what else? One of the best decisions I ever made is watching Browns football on my couch with little effort as possible. And I hate to say that. I really hate to say that because you know what? I'm a huge fan. I want to see him do well. But, you know, how much pain can fans endure?
I hear you. Do you still have the Dogmobile?
Yes, I do. It's in my storage shed.
Okay, one of these days when we do the show, Bone Lady, let's do that from your Dogmobile. Yeah. Let's do the show from your Dogmobile.
Really? You want me to go out to my storage shed
yes.
at 7 in the morning sitting in my car?
Can't you bring it home and then just do it the next day?
Bring it over here the night before and just leave it in the parking lot. We'll just jump in and do it in the morning.
Well, it needs a little mechanical work, and I don't have a mechanic in my life at the moment. So,
well, Bone Lady,
I don't know.
Because the show has no rules, if we saw more than the face, you may have a mechanic in your life.
if you went full bone, you go full bone, you get a mechanic.
I don't know. Maybe as the Browns get better, you'll see more of the Bone Lady. Who
All right,
knows?
we love you, Bone Lady. Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
you, Bone Lady.
Bye.
Bye.
She's awesome.
All right, we have to have some kind of fun this morning, don't we?
Exactly.
Let's get more information on yesterday's game. We turn to Chris Fedor. Chris, I don't know. This town's going to be going crazy for a new quarterback. By the end of the day, if they don't have one, I'm sure that Browns fans will be filling the highways and byways near 480 left and right.
Yeah, and I think they should be, guys. And, you know, I was kind of against changing quarterbacks last week because I don't want to be the team that just goes to a new quarterback every single week, and then one week it's Brandon Weeden, the next week it's Jason Campbell, and then who knows after that. Not to mention, I don't think there's a huge difference between Brandon Weeden and Jason Campbell. But if you watch the game yesterday, guys, I just came away with one big conclusion. I don't think the players believe they can win with Brandon Weeden. And that's where the problem is. And maybe they would believe a little bit more if it were Jason Campbell.
I'm buying that. Look, they look defeated. They look flustered. They look lost. They wanted to be, like Mike had said earlier, they did not want to be in Green Bay by the end of that game because it felt like there was no hope at all, especially in the second half.
And that's exactly what it is, Andy. You know, a quarterback sometimes represents hope, whether he's throwing wobbly passes or he's incompleting passes or he's completing passes. It's a sense of hope for a particular team. You know, if you go back a couple of years ago, the whole Denver Broncos playoff run, you know, Tim Tebow didn't make it look pretty, but it seemed like the players around him believed in him, and he brought a sense of hope to the offense, and it ignited the offense. And it appears that earlier this year, Brian Hoyer was a sense of hope for Josh Gordon, a sense of hope for Jordan Cameron and everybody else in that locker room. And a bad quarterback can be like a disease, and it can affect a lot of different areas. A bad quarterback can affect the defense, and it can affect the offensive line. You know, how would you like to be Joe Thomas or Alex Mack or Mitchell Schwartz, knowing that you've got to protect for 2 seconds longer because Brandon Weeden's going to be playing patty cake with the football, and he's not going to be seeing what's in front of him.
And there were sacks that he took yesterday, Chris, and I counted 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. I mean, there were a couple of 4-second holds, which 4 seconds in the NFL, as you know, that's a freaking eternity. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And he's sitting there going, hey, patty cake, Baker's man. How can I throw this ball to my man? How's that? That's pretty good right there, huh?
I don't know.
And then he throws it about 17 miles over the guy's head. Yeah, I'd probably need like much stronger stuff than that's in that coffee. But my point is, in going back to what you said, if I could see him like scrambling, taking hits, trying to make plays, you know, anything, you buy in and go, well, gosh, I mean, the guy is trying to win. I mean, he's doing whatever he can. I did not get that sense yesterday at all. And I feel like the team is just slowly kind of quitting on him, just slowly letting this thing slip away. And that's frustrating.
And I'd agree with that. And I think that's where Rob Szydzinski, as a head coach of this team, needs to take the pulse of his team. Joe Thomas is going to say the right things. Willis McGahee is going to say the right things. Everybody in that locker room, in front of a camera, in front of reporters, they're going to say the right thing. But Chud has to take the pulse of that team. He has to get a feeling from his team. And if his team doesn't believe in the starting quarterback, then nobody is going to play well, and you're not going to win any games in the NFL.
It's like trying to tell your kid that broccoli tastes good. You know how many
Broccoli
conversations?
tastes good, though.
It tastes delicious. I love broccoli, but try to tell your kids that.
No, they don't
It's
want
the
to hear
same. Exactly. But broccoli's good, and Whedon's broccoli. You know, they're trying to make it good.
All right, Chris, moving forward, what does this team need to do?
Well, I think first off, they have to change quarterbacks because even if Jason Campbell's not better on the field, he might provide a spark, and the team might finally be like, okay, finally, there's a change here. Let's see if this change can be for the better. Sometimes change is good, sometimes change is bad, but it might give a new energy to this offense the way that Brian Hoyer gave a new energy to the offense. So that's where they have to start things. And then I think if that happens, maybe the offensive line plays better. The other problem with this team, though, guys, is they have absolutely no running game to speak of.
Zero.
Willis McGahee runs like somebody put a piano on his back. Fozzie Whitaker.
But he's
I mean,
still
that's
running
great.
almost, if not comparable to Trent Richardson. That's the only.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only positive to this whole thing. and it's not a positive.
But here's the difference, though, Andy. Even with Trent, and I'm not here to defend Trent at all. I can't defend his yards per carry. He's a threat to an opposing defense. The minute that he takes the field, the defense is like, oh, whoa, okay. This guy's hard to bring down. This guy can make some things happen. We saw him knock the helmet off Kurt Coleman in Week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. So even if he wasn't really getting that many yards, he was still a threat to the opposing defense. The defensive coordinator still had to pay attention to him. No defensive coordinator's like, uh-oh, here comes Willis McGahee and his ankle weights running at us. Uh-oh, here comes Fozzie Whitaker. Uh-oh, here comes Chris
water
O'Brien.
or sand weights, Chris?
I think they're sand weights at this point. What do you think?
I don't know. Chris, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We'll check in with you next week. I appreciate your perspective.
You got to guess.
Thanks,
Chris.
Fedor checking in with us on Dogs on the Run.
Piano.
If you want to join in, Dogs on the Run on Skype or on the phone, 216-431-3820. 216-431-3820. I want to talk to Eric, the referee, here for 1 second. Where are you? I forgot what camera you're on. Eric, the referee, what do you, Dogs on the Run or Craig Lindell's got a great song for us. What do you want?
I think Craig Lindell's song. I think he's waiting.
All right,
ready to
I want
go.
to hear this. All right, let's go. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. How's it going?
Yeah, we're ready.
Cheers are there. All right, from waiting for next year. All right, so you've been working on the song. I saw you say on Twitter you have it. Let's do it.
Well, if you didn't like Mike Caron's patty cake, I don't know how you're going to feel about my ode to Michael Lombardi.
I'm sure it's better.
Even better. Here we go.
Where have you gone, Michael Lombardi? You're the Browns GM that no one sees. So what say you now today? You watched Brandon Whedon play yesterday. You were here back in '93. You helped cut number 19 free. I'll just keep watching the news that you've cut Brandon Whedon loose. Michael Lombardi, will you save me? Michael Lombardi, yeah.
That's outstanding.
Standing ovation. City
If
ovation.
I had a lighter, I'd turn it on right now. I'd give you the double flick.
First, I thought I was watching a remake of Rent, and then all of a sudden, man, you hit me. at
You
the end.
hit it hard. Oh, that's outstanding.
So, but the other question I was going to bring up today is, where's Jimmy Haslam? Where is Jimmy Haslam right now? Because this isn't the team that anybody thought Jimmy Haslam was going to put on the field right away. Did you?
They used up their camera angles on Norv Turner. I felt bad for Norv, just like the Bone Lady. But no, Jimmy Haslam has to keep that low profile with all the legal stuff that's going on. This front office, Joe Banner's the one who says that he's not going to escape accountability at any time. There's no way that I think he can stay quiet this week. There's no way that I think that this team cannot make at least some kind of a roster move to bring in some other kind of QB. I'm not saying it's easy to find a guy who can play, but I think it's easy to find a guy who can play a little bit better than what we saw yesterday.
You know, I tell you what, first of all, you get big kudos for the whole look of the Skype because this is, you know, it is a live mobile cast. I feel like I'm in a room in the Rock Hall with the stuff, pictures behind you. I can see the amp, which goes all the way up to 11 in the right, which is your left. I'm like, this is a picture. This is a morning picture. Now you've set the bar high. Where are you, Michael Lombardi? Now that's your debut song here on Dogs. Now you have to follow it up with, you know, and of course we'll make sure that we help you in the PR aspect of that. But you have to follow it up now. But the waiting for next year, the website, the beauty of this whole thing is there's a lot to talk about right now, isn't there? I mean, if there wasn't all this problem, you know, you'd be right. Now the Browns are good. Oh, they're really doing well. But there's a lot to talk about right now.
There is a lot to talk about, but the biggest problem I see with the Browns right now, and the biggest problem for Browns fans is that this team is, again, not only bad, but they're boring to watch. Boring to watch. It's the worst nightmare of any NFL fan. It's one thing to lose games. Lots of teams know about losing games, but this team is boring. There's no hope of them getting better. Joe Banner said that we should be able to watch this team week after week, hopefully get better and make progress. And there's just no hope of seeing that at this point with the offense the way it is and the way the defense looks. I don't want to make excuses for them, but they look positively demoralized.
I'm just quickly going through all the scores. Just Jacksonville and Philadelphia had less points than the Browns yesterday.
Ugh.
And this is supposed to be this great, high-powered league. I mean, how many teams? Denver yesterday. Denver had, what, 33?
33, yeah.
33.
39, 32.
Okay, so they had 33 points. That was their low watermark for the season on points, 33 points. So if this league is all about offense, the Browns are playing in a different league.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, there's no hope that it's going to get better. We were supposed to at least see some vertical passing. Did we see how many vertical passes did we see yesterday? Where was the attempt to take the top off the defense? Just throw it over the top. Let Travis Benjamin run for a day and try and overthrow him. Something, anything. And so I guess it's not just Brandon Weeden. He had time. I mean, he had 4 seconds to – how many times do we used to call those coverage sacks before we saw Brian Hoyer play?
That's an excellent point. It really is. That's a great point. And you can't call any of those sacks coverage sacks. You really can't because you know he's making terrible decisions, and you see that guys are open. You can see it. I mean, I'm watching it, from a couple thousand miles away, and I can see guys running underneath, and he's making the wrong decisions. And in that offense, okay, if you're not going to go vertical, which you told us you were going to do, then at least make some plays underneath and take what the defense is going to give you and move the damn football, right?
Yeah, absolutely. How long did it take the Browns to get their first legitimate first down? It felt like it took, they had one first down in the first quarter, not including penalties. It's just absolutely abominable. And he does not throw guys open. In the NFL, you have to throw guys open. You have to anticipate their first move and throw it to where they're going to be. And Brandon Weeden, I think he did that once yesterday, one pass to Jordan Cameron, and that's the only time I can remember.
All right, Craig, well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. You want to play us out?
Michael Lombardi, will you save me?
Thanks, Greg.
Lombardi, yeah.
Thanks, Craig.
I wish I had a lighter.
I know, that's what I was like.
All right, and we've reached that point in the show